So there's many different methods to fit an image to this billboard. You could use warp or you could use perspective. But either of those, you'd have to manually manipulate the image to fit it onto the billboard. I want to show you a different way to do it using vanishing point. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to create a layer so I can put my vanishing point on. I don't want to put it on this layer because it makes it a bit harder to edit and manipulate and come back to. So I'm going to create a new layer. So I'm just going to come down here to this box. Got this little box here with a cross in it. I'm just going to click on that. And now I've got my new layer here, layer 1. I'm just going to click on that again. Double click on that. I'm just going to call it VP. This is our vanishing point. Don't have to rename it, but I'm just going to rename it. So if I decide to build anything else on top of this, I'll know this is my vanishing point layer. Right, so once I've done that, I just want to grab an image and put it on my pasteboard. So I'm just going to go File, Open, Navigate to an image. And the first one I'm going to grab is a cityscape here. And one thing to note is just the size of it. Notice it's 3000 pixels by roughly 2000. So it's kind of a rectangle shape. Quite similar to the billboard, which is a rectangle shape. Which will make it a lot easier to fit the shape to the billboard. So this is something that you could do in Photoshop to adjust your image just so it kind of is a rectangle, just like the billboard, if your billboard is a rectangle. And again, you can see with this one, I've adjusted this one as well, this Vegas one. If you look at the size here, 4000 by 2500. And you've got this one here, 4000 by 3000. So you can see this one is adjusted and is slightly wider, again a rectangle. Anyway, so we're going to go to Cityscape, we're going to open this one. So I'm just going to select Cityscape and choose Open. And I'm just going to select this image. So again, I could do Command A on a Mac and then Command C to copy it. On a PC, it would be Control A and Control C to copy it. Or equally, we can come up here and we can choose Select All and then Edit, Copy. Then once we've copied that to the clipboard, we don't need this anymore, so I can just close this. I can then go to my vanishing point layer, make sure that's selected. Then I come up to Filter and I choose Vanishing Point. Then I make sure this is selected here. You can see it's active. Create Panel tool, this one here. I'm just going to click in the corners, just inside the billboard. It's going to drag it along and click. Of course, if I really wanted to be a bit more accurate, as I come to the corner, I could press X and I could zoom in. And I could just click. Then as I come to the other corner here, I could just press X on the keyboard again and just click. Now I've got my plane that I could put my image on. And as we just copied our image, we selected it and copied it. If I just press Command and V on my keyboard, I've got my image there. Now if I want to adjust my image slightly, I'll just come along to this tool here, the transform tool. I just click on that. You see I get a little white dot right on the edge of the image, and if I don't want to distort it, I'd hold down the Shift key and I just pull in the corner. And if that's roughly where I want it, so I'm going to be dropping it into this. So roughly where I want it, let's say about there. I can then select it and just drag it over the plane, and I've got it in there. If it's a bit too small, I'm just going to move this image down a bit. I'm just going to grab it in the corner again, holding down shift. So I've got my arrow pointing up and down, hold down shift, and I'm just going to pull it again. And then I can just move it. So again, if I want to make it a bit bigger, I'm just going to hold down shift, and I can pull it. Then I can just move it into place. So let's say I want my cityscape right there. Now imagine I wanted to put New York on there. Well, as you can see at the moment, there's no way to type within this, but it is a way to quickly get some text in. But I'm going to have to go back to my main screen. So if I'm happy with that, I can just click OK. And I've got my cityscape there. But what I would like is to have New York across there, but I want it to actually follow the plane. So I could actually type New York on my layer here. So if I go up to the next layer, I can come to my type tool. So I can click on that. And I can type New York. I can increase the size of it. Let's say increase it to 48. Maybe I'll make it a little bit bigger. Let's see what it looks like at 60. Maybe I can adjust the color as well. Maybe make it quite bright. So as this is, I could copy and paste it into my vanishing point layer. However, if I add any effects to this, it won't actually carry them over. So let's see what I mean. So I've got New York there at the moment. If I double click on my New York layer, let's say I add a stroke to this layer. I go to the stroke. Let's say make it quite big. And I change the color to white. I have the stroke outside. And I click. So the stroke is outside. I just have it as normal. So you can see I've got an effect there on this text. But I want to copy it and paste it into my vantage point. So it takes on the angle of the screen. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to press Control A and Command A or Control A on my Mac. I'm pressing Command A and then Command C to copy. So I've copied it now. I'm just going to go over to my layer here. And I'm going to go to Filter, Vanishing Point. So this is the text which we're seeing, but as you can see, we can't actually move this text at all. It's just showing you what's on the background of the other image. So if I do Command and V to paste, you can see I've got the text that I pasted in here. But one thing you'll notice, it doesn't have a stroke around it like this one here. So basically it's taken this text without any effects. All it's taken is the color. So I can just drag this New York here, and you see as I drag it in, it takes on the effect. So let's say I position it there, and if I'm happy with that, I can come up here and I can click OK. And just to show you, I can switch this one off, but of course I can't switch this one off because that New York text is actually embedded in here, but it doesn't take any special effects with it. It's just the basic text. If I wanted text with all the different special effects, I'd have to export that text either as a JPEG or PNG, and then I could drop it in and it would have the effects. So this is how you would quickly put your image in to Vanishing Point and add other things to it, and whatever you add to the Vanishing Point, it takes on the properties of the Vanishing Point. So what if I want to put another image on here? Let's say, for example, I still want to keep this one, but I want to be able to perhaps stack a few different images and be able to switch them on and off. Because if I were to just go into here again and place another image, what I would actually do is I'd be overwriting this image. I'd be overwriting this image that I've got here. So if I don't want to do that, what I would need to do is come down here and create another vantage point. So I come down here again and I click to create another layer. And let's say this is vantage point 2. So I'd call it VP2. I'll call it VP2. And then I'll come up to here, making sure that VP2 is selected. And I'll go Filter, Vanishing Point. So I've already got my grid there. I'm not going to adjust it because I want it to be covering the same area as the other one. But what do I need to do? I need to copy my other image first. So I just cancel that. And I'll go File, Open. And again, like we mentioned before, I want something which is going to be a similar shape to my billboard. So this is kind of rectangular and the billboard is rectangle. So I'm just going to open this. Now on the keyboard, I'm going to go Command A and Command Copy. And remember, I'm on a Mac. If I was on a PC, I'd do Control A, Control C to copy. So Control A is to select and Control C is to copy. So now that I've done that, I can close this because I've copied it. And now I'm going to come back to VP2 and I'm going to go Filter, Vanishing Point. And I've got the grid already here. So I'm going to go Command and V to paste. I'm just going to resize this. So I'm going to select this tool here, this transform tool. And if I don't want to squish this image, I'm going to hold down shift and then drag. Let's say I take it to about there and I let go. Then I can just remove an image into there. And again, if I want to resize it a bit more, again, hold down shift key on the keyboard and just drag. I'll take it down a bit more and I'll just reposition it. Just so I got Vegas in the middle there. So I'll position it like that. And if I'm happy with that, I can just come along here and I can click OK. And so now I've got my vanishing point on this layer. So I could export it and save it like that. But if I don't want this one showing, I can just come along to this eye icon here. I could click on that. And I've still got my old one as well. So I can just switch them on and off. And of course, if I wanted a vantage point, if I wanted a vanishing point 3, I would just create another layer and add it on to the next vanishing point. And that's how you create multiple vanishing points on one document.